Hello, everyone. Good evening. Again, depending on which part of the world you are joining us from today, thank you very much for joining. We will start off with the introduction, and I will head to introduce myself. My name is Daria, and I'm NYU Abu Dhabi Outreach Officer in Russia in Central Asia. And today we're going to talk about how holistic the admission process to the US universities are. I'm going to give you a quick introduction to our university as well. I will represent and talk more about all of our three campuses, and then we're going to talk about what it is like to apply to the US universities. So, and the topic today of our presentation is US higher education, exploring US universities and holistic admissions. And what does that mean? I see that there are questions, but before I start, just a quick housekeeping items. Of course, you are free to ask your questions. You can drop them in a chat box or in a Q&A section. You can find the button of a Q&A where you can drop off your questions. And first, I will give my presentation. Be patient. The presentation is going to be you're going to find a lot of information about US universities and how to apply to US universities. But of course, at the end, I will be happy to answer your questions. So without further ado, let me start. And give a first introduction to our university. NYU stands for New York University, as you all might know. And NYU has been around for a very long time. It is one of the largest private universities in the United States, and the first and oldest campus was established in 1831 by a man called Abel Gallatin, and the first campus is located in New York City. The idea behind New York University since its establishment has been to build a legacy of forward motion, to be a university without borders, accessible to everyone and anyone who wanted to get an access to a higher education. And as we have grown in our size and in our reach, we have maintained the same idea. Our New York campus has about 50,000 students. It is the biggest campus of all three campuses. This is our largest campus, and it is broken into 10 different colleges. Depending on what students are studying, they will have to be enrolled in one of the colleges at NYU. So for instance, if you are studying something like theater at NYU in New York City, you will be enrolled in the School of the Arts. If you are studying something like business, you will be enrolled in the Stern School of Business, for those who might be considering exactly New York campus. So, but when we're talking about New York University, it is a truly global university. And when I'm saying global university, I truly mean it, because alongside with the New York campus, we also have the second campus, which is the campus that I primarily represent, is our Abu Dhabi campus in the United Arab Emirates. This campus was founded in 2010 with the idea for New York University to have a more international focus, providing students from all over the world with the opportunity not only learn together, but learn from each other. Our Abu Dhabi campus has students from over 120 different countries, and we have about 1,600 students. So of course, comparing to New York campus, we are relatively small, but this is what really makes our campus unique, because we are a family-oriented campus. We have a very close-knit community, and about 89% of Abu Dhabi's population is comprised of people from all over the world. And this is a truly a microcosm of the world in its sense. So you can be within one campus, but you will have an opportunity to meet more than 100 students from more than 120 different countries. And then there is a third campus, and our youngest campus is our Shanghai campus in China. It was built in 2013, and while NYU knew that they have to have a campus in China, as it continues to be an influential country in the world, and as you all know, and the Shanghai campus has a dual identity, both as an American and Chinese institution. So every student who are studying in NYU Shanghai, they're learning Mandarin language first, and when you are graduating with a dual degree, one from the US university and one from the Chinese university. Why it is happening? It is just the specifics of Chinese market. In order for you to be eligible to work in China, you need to have a China's degree. So that is why NYU provides you a dual degree. So and you might have noticed, as I have introduced our campuses, that they are located in 3 different major cities in the world: New York, Shanghai, and Abu Dhabi. And there is very intentional. NYU believes itself to be in one of these cities. What that means is one of the core beliefs is for students to have a really rich experience in the university. But what really important is that no matter where you are a student of NYU University. Because many asks us, what is the difference? Is it the different university? No, you are getting an NYU degree. It is just depends on what campus you are studying in. But here, it's not only about these 3 campuses, it is also, I wanted to give you a really, really quick introduction to how global our university is. Alongside with 3 degree granting campuses, which are in New York, Abu Dhabi, and Shanghai, we also have 12 academic centers that are located in 6 different continents. So here on the map, you can see that we have academic centers in London, in Berlin, in Buenos Aires, in Accra, in Tel Aviv, in Florence, in Sydney, and many other countries and cities. So this is where our students have an opportunity to spend up to 2 semesters abroad and to have their G-term or study away opportunity. Like, for example, if students are interested and your home campus is Abu Dhabi campus, but if you are studying engineering and interested in engineering, you can spend up to 2 semesters in our engineering school, which is located in Brooklyn in New York. One of our newly located campuses is located in Los Angeles, not campuses, academic centers, is located in Los Angeles. So students who are interested in media studies or creative studies, they can go to Los Angeles. I see that some of you raised your hands. Let's agree that I will finish off my presentation and then we will have time for your questions where you will be able to ask your questions. But in the meanwhile, you can drop off your questions in the chat box or in a Q&A. Thank you for understanding. So now let's talk about how to really apply to US universities, what it is important to look at, into. You definitely know that there are so many different universities across United States or US universities that are located abroad. So, and you might ask yourself a question, what is the best university? Also, is the best university is also best for me? And our recommendation here is just to have this conversation with you, with yourself, and answer this question to yourself. What really is important to you? Whether it is a location, and when we talk about the location, it could be different, whether it is located in a big city or outside of the big city. Is it a US university that is located in US? Or is it a US university that is located abroad? Like, for example, New York University that is located in Abu Dhabi or in Shanghai. Also, it matters the size of the campus, the size of the university. There is a range of different universities that differ in their size. Also, you want to check academic options, what university can offer, what are the subjects, what are the majors that the university can provide. The ranking of the university as well, like whether it is an international recognition, a prestige of the university. In general, you want to know about the student life. So about the campus atmosphere, what are the student activities, whether the campus itself is big, what are other departments that support student life. And student demographics is also could be a really important part when you are applying and deciding what university you want to choose. Are there many international students, or are there only local students? It is also about you to answer yourself those questions. And of course, extracurriculum activities. Every US university will have their websites where you can read about extracurriculum activities. I can say that at NYU Abu Dhabi, we offer a lot of extracurriculum activities, a lot of sports clubs and student interest groups. So you want to read about that as well. And of course, there could be anything else that is important to you when you're choosing the university. So when you, like next would be is to decide for yourself what is crucial to you, whether it is a location, whether it is an academic opportunities, whether it is a student demographic. So decide what is important to you, write down what is important to you, and then start searching for the university that answers those questions that are important to you. Then one of the frequently asked questions that our potential students are asking us, what US universities are looking into when they are searching for students. I can definitely be sure and can tell you what we are looking at when we are reading your applications and when we are deciding who's going to become an NYU Abu Dhabi student. Here on that slide, you can find the list of let's say characteristics. So of course, we'll look at the academic excellence. We want to know how successful you are in your academics. We want to see that potential students are have the intellectual curiosity and really broad interests. That our students are advantageous and entrepreneurial, and that they have a community engagement. Because as I have mentioned, our campus in Abu Dhabi is relatively small, so we have a very close-knit community. That is why for us it is important what kind of a community member you're going to be. And of course, a global leadership potential. That is also what we want to see in students' applications. How the assessment in general is happening, and this is would be I would say universal to many universities, but that is definitely how the assessment is happening at NYU Abu Dhabi, or in general at NYU. So we have three counter pillars, like academic, extracurriculum activities, and personal. What is really means holistic approach is that we don't what the American universities and the admission centers, they are not looking only at one part of your application, like for example academics. They also look at you as a personality. They also look what really interests you, what motivates you, and that is really what holistic approach means. That is why everything in your application is important. So how the university, how the admission officers can really judge on who you are. So the academic side of your application can be supported by different transcripts, rigor of classes, test scores, and different honors. This is what you provide in your application. Then the university will look at your extracurriculum and how you can provide this information. About the extracurriculum activities says your general activities, your different leadership participations, and recognition of different awards. And then when we look at your personal, this is where some US universities might have separate essays, like school-specific essays. And NYU Abu Dhabi has the same essay where we ask you why NYU. And that is where you provide an information why NYU is the university you really want to apply. Or there could be the same question from any other university, and the admission officers would want to know why specifically you're applying to the university. And then personal side of your application can also be viewed through the recommendation letters. That is why they are also very important, and you need to think thoroughly when you are choosing who's going to be your recommender. So, and now I'm going to talk about each application requirements. So here on that slide, and I'm going to read it out loud, those are the typical requirements in the US universities. Of course, they can differ, but in general, that is what most of the US universities are going to require when you're applying to. So it is going to be an application form. You will need to provide standardized test scores. You will need to provide academic achievements, extracurriculum activities, letters of recommendation, write your essays and interviews for some universities. And now I'm going to talk about each specific requirement individually. So your application form. So many universities in the United States use online platforms or online applications to receive applications from all over the world. And while you can use a common application, so the common application is widely used by many universities. More than 900 US universities and global universities are using Common Application, which is an online platform where you register and then submit all of your documents through the Common Application. There are some other platforms that can be used by US universities. It could be a universal college application. It could be a coalition for college accesses, and some universities might use their own college-specific application that is located specifically on their website. So how would you know is that you can go to the website of the university you are interested in, and then in the section, the application, you will know how the university accepts application, what application form they are using. Generally, there could be application fees. Usually it can be differs from university to university, and the cost could be from $50 to $100, and they are non-refundable. Non-refundable fees, but you can require a fee waiver if you realize that it could be a financial burden for you to pay a fee waiver for the university. Some universities can provide a fee waivers. So, for example, NYU Abu Dhabi provide a fee waiver for the common application, and you will need to request it in the common application when you're applying to. Then we're going to talk about the deadlines. And this is really important part to keep in mind when you are doing your research and deciding on what university you want to apply. So when you have selected a range of universities you are interested in, you really want to look at the deadlines. This is what you really need to keep in mind, because this is really important, because if you miss the deadline, you won't be able to apply to the university and you will have to wait for the next academic year. So in the US universities, there are different there could be different understanding and different rules in deadlines and in the application forms. It could be an early decision, early action, restrictive early action. So they are different in terms of rules when you're applying. So early decision means that you submit your application early, and it also means that it is a binding agreement. Binding agreement means that if you're applying to the university through the early decision, it means that if you're accepted, then you will withdraw any other applications to any other universities. So this is how you show the university that this is your top priority university, this is your top choice university. And the early action means the same. You need, again, how you can find out what restrictions are within those deadlines. You can go to the website of the universities that you are interested in, and you can see what options the university offers. If we're talking about NYU, for example, we have 3 different deadlines that students can apply to. It is an early decision 1, early decision 2, and regular decision. So early decision, first early decision has its deadline in the November the 1st. So this is a very early application. With the early decision 2, the deadline is in January the 1st. And then the regular decision, this is where you have more time to apply. And regular decision doesn't mean that it's not a binding agreement. So if you are admitted to the university through the regular decision, you can go to another university if you're accepted to the university, other university. So, and with the regular decision, the deadline is in January the 5th. Again, I know that there is a lot of information and differences in all of the deadlines. Don't be scared. You can easily find this information online about the differences of all those deadlines. And of course, it's better to double check with the university you are interested in, and then we'll see what are the requirements for those universities. So now the next requirement is to provide standardized tests. I'm sure you all have heard about SAT scores. They are one of the most popular standardized tests that are required by American universities. But there are also a lot of other options like the SAT. For example, many universities require this exam. So again, it is important as you do your research of the universities to look at what standardized testing requirements are for the specific universities you're applying to. So for you to give yourself enough time to prepare for the test, to apply for the test, to have a test exam. Really important to prepare for those tests as well and have enough time to prepare. The other thing I want to mention is English tests, English language testing for different universities. They might have different requirements as well. So there are different options that students can choose to. So usually this could be a TOEFL, IELTS, Cambridge exam, or even Duolingo. If you are not familiar what is Duolingo, because I'm sure that you have heard about TOEFL, IELTS, and Cambridge exam. But Duolingo is an online English exam. Due to the COVID and due to the fact that many test centers are closed, many universities started accepting Duolingo exam. You don't really need to go to any testing service. You can pass the exam from your home laptop. You can read about the Duolingo as well. Again, you can double check with each university what are the requirements and what English exams are accepted by different universities. Again, different universities also has different requirements on what test scores you need to receive. Again, you can find this information on the website of each university. As well, I really wanted to talk about such such a thing as test optional. Some universities, again, due to the COVID, and again, due to understanding that there are so many problems for students to access testing services, many universities announced to be test optional, which means that in order to apply to the university, you don't need to provide any standardized tests except for English. So again, when you're applying test optional, it doesn't mean that your application will be disadvantaged because universities, and that is again a true essence of the holistic approach, because universities can judge on your academic achievements from the transcripts or that you provide, or from the successes that you had in your school. So for example, NYU Abu Dhabi is a test optional as well due to the COVID. Some universities might accept national accredited high school exams as well. Again, you can double check it, and NYU Abu Dhabi, for example, NYU in general does accept some national exams from some countries. Again, you can double check it, whether your country's national exams are accepted by the university. And then the next point that I wanted to talk about is academic achievements. As part of your application, your academic achievements is of course the top priority, because you are attending university for your academic interests. I'm sorry. And that is why for most universities, your academic achievements are going to be of a paramount importance. Usually universities require you to provide transcripts for the last 3 or 4 years of your secondary school. And due to that, that you provide your transcript, the university can decide on your academic performance. They will also need your scores and rigor of curriculum. What is meant by rigor of curriculum? Whether you are taking probably some high-level classes, maybe you are taking extra hours in some subjects. So this is how the university want to know. And of course, the academic achievements can be supported and can be proved by different academic honors. Maybe you have participated in some Olympiads where you got some certificates. So this is again where you want to provide this information. And then another exciting opportunity for how you want to illustrate who you are to the university is to provide extracurriculum activities. And this is really where you want to pay attention to. What does extracurriculum activities means? This is how you spend your free time. It could be sport, it could be music, but it's not only limited to those things. It could also be community work. It could be some activism. It could be arts, etc. So anything that you do outside of your classroom could be an extracurriculum activity. And that is where you want to illustrate your broad interests and how you spend your free time. So really spend enough time for onto that section of your application, because you want to show the best of your activities and the best of yourself. You can also talk about like your hobbies, or if you have some family responsibilities at home. All of those things will really give admission officers an idea of a little bit of your personality, as well as the things that you are interested in doing in your free time. So as I've mentioned, make sure to take time in this section of the application. Try to provide descriptions for all of your activities you are involved in. Maybe you can talk about some of the achievements, some measurable achievements, like, for example, you have been a part of some interest group, and you have been a leader of that group, and you were able to organize, I don't know, 3 events within 1 year, or from the time you have joined the team, you were able to raise money for some support. So it would be nice to provide some background and some understanding how your participation in this or that activity has influenced the community around you as well. And then the other part of the application process that is common for many American universities are essays. So in addition to learning about your academic achievements and about your extracurriculum activities, admission officers also want to hear from you and about your personal story. The things that you were interested in and the way that what motivates you, what really worries you, that is the place where you can provide information. I'm going to talk about the common application because the common application is used by NYU. So when you're applying through the common application, you will have an essay section, a writing section. You will be offered to choose one topic out of 7 different topics and write an essay. Again, you can access the essay topics quite early, and this is the part where students really need a lot of time, because for some universities, this is the only opportunity for admission officers to know who you are. Because if the university doesn't provide interviews, this is the place where they find out who you are as a personality. That is why you really want to spend and give yourself enough time to write a really good, deep essay. And as I've mentioned at the beginning, some universities also have college-specific essays. For example, for NYU, we have Why NYU. And in this essay, what we really want to know is, why are you applying to our university? What really motivates you to be a part of our university? And if you are applying specifically to one of our campuses, like for example to NYU Abu Dhabi, that is where you want to talk about why specifically NYU Abu Dhabi. Usually in this section, universities don't want to hear you saying that I'm applying to your university because you are the top university, because you are high in ranking. They want you to do a research. They want to see that you really done your homework, that you know why this university really correlates to you. Maybe it is about some subjects, maybe it is about students' life, maybe it is about student body, maybe it is some professor who really motivated you. So again, you will need enough time you will need a lot of time to write your essay. So give this time to you and start preparing as early as possible. Now let's talk about letters of recommendation. Another thing that is a part of your application is letters of recommendation. So in addition to hearing from you about yourself, universities also like to hear from you, to hear about you from your educators at your school. So usually universities will require minimum 1 recommendation letter and maximum 2 recommendation letters. Of course, students can provide extra recommendation letters, like, for example, from your employee or from your coach or from your mentor, but this will be a supplementary. You will need to provide what is required. So for example, for NYU, we require minimum 2 recommendations from your educators, from the teachers from your current school where you are studying in. One recommendation letter is going to be from your counselor, who is going to provide and submit such documents as school reports, submit your transcript and predicted scores, and give evaluation. And then there should be a teacher's recommendation letters. So it could be a subject teacher, like, for example, your English teacher or math teacher or teacher in literature. So depending on who knows you well. So here again, where you want to give yourself time and the time to your recommenders. So don't wait until the very end of the deadline to approach your recommender and ask for writing your recommendation letter, because you really want your recommendation letter to be well thought, well written. That is why you really need to give enough time for your recommenders to write it. And now let's talk about such requirement as interviews. Last part of the application process I want to talk about is interviews. Some universities have an interview process. So that is why you also, when you are making a research about the university, you really need to double check whether there is such an option as an interview for the university you're applying to. So once you get through the first round of application, universities might want to hear from you in person. They might schedule interviews, so it might be in person, or due to, again, a COVID situation, usually it could be through Skype or Zoom, which is kind of the current most popular platforms. And that is a way for the university to get more specific information about you, or to ask some specific questions if there are some questions left after your application. So kind of a follow-up questions. If we're talking about NYU, Abu Dhabi, we don't have any interviews. However, we have such an application, a part of the application process as a candidate weekend. Only finalists are invited to participate in a candidate weekend. That is the event that is hosted by NYU Abu Dhabi, where students have an opportunity to get in touch with the current students, to have to participate in some classes, to show themselves, to ask questions, to meet with the professors, to meet with the admission officers. So this is a very specific event to NYU Abu Dhabi application process. And I also wanted in this presentation quickly talk about the financial aid. That's kind of the application process in a nutshell. But another factor that would influence your choice of college is, of course, financial aid. Some universities have very generous financial aid packages, whereas other universities might not have scholarships or financial aid at all. So if the financial support is really important to you, that is again what you want to research when you're applying to the universities. Every university on each website will have an information about the financial aid, and you want to know all those details. The financial aid, again, the types of the financial aid could be different. It could be a need-based aid, it could be merit-based scholarships, or it could be an external organizations that provide support. So merit-based scholarships are based on academic achievements of students. For the most bright students, the university can provide a merit-based scholarship. There is also a need-based scholarship. This is a type of the financial aid when the university looks at the financial situation of your family, whether your family will be able to pay for your studies or no. So for example, for NYU Abu Dhabi, we have a need-based scholarship. In order to be eligible for a need-based scholarship, you need to apply with the CSS profile. This is a separate application form that is where you provide information about your family status, about your family income, and on the basis of that, the university, if you are admitted as a student, decides what kind of and what size of the financial package the university will need to provide you. And of course, give yourself and your family enough time to prepare financial documents. Again, the application to the US universities will require a lot of time. So one of the recommendations is to start your application process as early as possible. As you can see, there are a lot of requirements. For some universities will require all of those requirements. Some of the universities might miss the requirements, but in general, you see that in general, you will need to provide a lot of information. That is why you will need to give yourself enough time to prepare, to apply to the universities. So that is where we come up to the final tips that I wanted to share with you. So start preparation with research in time. So I would say if you're in your junior school, in your junior class, spring is the time, like the spring before your last academic year, is really the best time to do your research about the universities, to go to some events that the universities you are interested in organizes. Many universities host a lot of online events, like for example, NYU Abu Dhabi has a lot of online webinars on how to apply to NYU Abu Dhabi, or some interviews with our current students where you can get to know more about the campus itself. So give yourself time to do a research and then to know what documents you will need to provide. Then give your recommenders enough time to write a strong reference for you. Keep in mind that essays usually takes the most time of your application. So summer before your final year of studies at school is again the best time to start writing your essay, because specifically for those who are interested in applying through early decision, remember that early decision deadline is in November the 1st. So by the November, you already need to have your essays written, your recommendation letters prepared. So you will need to collect all of the information. So probably summer would be the best time for you to start writing your essays. And don't think that the first draft of your essay is going to be your last draft. No, because you're going to write a lot of drafts, several drafts, and you're going to rewrite it, change it, etc. You will need to give yourself time for proofreading. Again, you can approach your English teacher, your friends, or someone who is native to English to proofread your essay, because you really want it to be on a very professional level. And of course, deadlines are the most important thing that you need to keep in mind when you're applying to universities. So keep in mind all of the deadlines. So first, do your research, decide your universities you are interested in, then write down what documents they will require, and then write down a deadline for every and each university you have, so that you won't miss the deadlines. So I think that that's it from me in terms of the holistic approach, in terms of US higher education and how to apply to the universities. So if you have any questions, please drop your questions in a chat box or in a Q&A, and I will be happy to answer those questions. Yes, there is a question. If I want to apply to NYU Abu Dhabi, do I need to have certificates like Duolingo, TOEFL, etc.? Yes, you will need to provide one certificate of English testing. It could be either TOEFL, it could be IELTS, or it could be a Duolingo. You don't need to take all of these exams. You can choose the one that is most suitable for you and apply with this exam. Yeah, and then you can double check what other standardized tests are needed for the university. Do we need to do we have to pass SAT? Is it necessary? It depends on each university. As I've said, if you are interested, for example, an NYU Abu Dhabi or NYU in general, yes, SAT is one of the standardized tests. However, it's not the only one. It could be your national exams, and you can double check whether the university accepts the national exams of your country. There is a specific application, not an application. There is a specific section on each on the website where you can double check whether the national exams of your country are accepted. So then again, you won't need to provide SAT. Probably if you want to pass your national exams and apply with your national exams. And as I've said, some universities could be test optional. So last academic, last application cycle, NYU has been test optional, which means that you can apply without any standardized tests. I mean, without SAT, without your national exams or SAT. Again, it hasn't been announced for the next academic year. We are waiting for the university's decision, but you will find this information again on the website of each university. There is a question in a Q&A that the student is applying to US universities, and it looks like for COVID is making it a bit hard, as most of the universities are making it online classes. So yes, it depends on, of course, the safety of the students is the paramount importance to each university. And some universities are returning to offline classes. Some universities still keep online classes. Again, I can't be talking about every university in the US. So you will need to get in touch with the university you are interested in terms of finding out what is the current COVID situation within the university. I can be talking about NYU Abu Dhabi's, and I know that NYU Abu Dhabi makes everything, of course, to get students back to offline classes. And starting from February, the university resumes offline classes of the students. So of course, we cannot be sure about how the COVID situation is going to unveil, but we will, every university keep students in touch and informed. If I get into NYU University, then I can transfer after a year. Mohammad, I didn't really get your question. What do you mean transfer? So if you're been accepted, for example, to NYU Abu Dhabi, will you be able to transfer to New York campus? Do you mean that? Then answering that question, no. So if you're admitted to NYU Abu Dhabi, for example, or NYU New York campus or NYU Shanghai, this is going to be your home campus for 4 years. However, the student will be able to spend up to 2 semesters abroad, whether in the other campus or in one of our academic centers. But transfers, you won't be able to transfer from one campus to another. It depends, like, again, if you're talking about our campus in New York, then as I've said, transferring is not possible. Like if you're admitted to NYU Abu Dhabi, this is going to be your home campus for 4 years. However, like for example, you can go for and spend a semester in New York, depending on what module or what subject you are studying in, but transfers within the campuses are almost next to impossible. Okay. Uh, if it is really important, we have about 20 attendees right now. I see that there are no more questions. So here on that slide, you can find my contact details. I will be happy to continue our communication, to answer your questions if you have any questions later on after my presentation. I'm also going to drop in a chat box my email address. So if you have any questions later on, you can copy my email address and get in touch with me. I will be happy to answer your questions and provide more information about NYU Abu Dhabi. Okay. Does NYU Abu Dhabi, I have one last question in a Q&A. Does NYU Abu Dhabi have different acceptance rates for each majors? No, because you generally applying to NYU Abu Dhabi specifically and not to a major or any subject. So each student who is applying to NYU Abu Dhabi are admitted to the university itself. You will be able to declare your major on the second year of your studies. So most of the students are applying undecided. So we don't have different acceptance rates for different majors. Great. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. It's been a great pleasure to meet you, to talk to you. Thank you for your fantastic questions. And again, I will be happy to stay in touch. So don't hesitate to send your questions if you have them later on. And good night. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.